Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's first video. We're doing the June month-ahead forecast for today's first video. Have a look at the CFS V2 and the Beijing Climate Centre for the month ahead and see what may be happening for June. We'll also have a review of May, and at the end we'll have a sneak peek of July. Before I get on with all of that, just to say about the ads, there's links to articles on all of the pages. Have a browse through the widgets and click through the links if there's any articles that you're interested in, and thanks very much for doing that. There's video ads on most pages. They own that content, but you actually close back up again, helps pay for our website. So the May forecast gone quite well actually. The models for the May update were generally going for quite a cool and wet, unsettled month. We said that we thought they'd been too pessimistic though, and the actual forecast from GasWeather for May was for above average temperatures with near normal rainfall, and we have come away with above average temperatures for this month. So this is the latest from Hadley. The centering temperature for May is in, this is it just here, May 2016. It comes out at 12.5. This is final, by the way, it's not provisional, it's final. That's an anomaly against 61 to 1990 of 1.4 degrees. So setting against a more modern average, probably around a degree above average. So I think the forecast went quite well. Rainfall was variable, maybe a little bit drier than we expected, but overall not too bad a forecast, I don't think, for May. And that rounds off a pretty good spring. I'll be evaluating the spring forecast in a few days. I think we've done quite well with the spring forecast this year, but we will evaluate that in a few days. But that's how May finished up anyway. Quite a warm month. And interestingly, June, we've got 1 day in for June, provisional for the 1st. That's coming out a little bit above average. Hard to believe that, given how cold it was feeling yesterday. But of course, although the days have been pretty chilly, the nights have generally been seeing the temperatures holding up under all the clouds. So that's what's happened there. Right, let's get on with the June forecast and have a look at 700 millibar height anomalies from the CFS V2 model first of all. So this is the anomaly for June. And what it's doing, it's placing quite a lot of blocking up to the north around Greenland, Iceland, and they have a trough underneath it to the south. Now, this would normally be quite a poor signal for a summer month, but the way this is lining up, very similar to what's happened in May, means that we generally keep the winds coming in probably from that sort of direction, a bit like that. So from a southeast to easterly type direction. Of course, that's going to be quite warm in June because it's drawing the air up off the continent. And, of course, continent warming up very rapidly now, given the strength of the sun. If things were lining up a little bit different, say the ridge was there and the trough was more centred here, then that, of course, would bring winds down from a northerly type direction. But just the way things line up means that despite the blocking, we probably come away with quite a warmish month with the air doing something like that. So let's have a look at the temperature anomaly, and indeed it is coming out with a warmer than average month, as it is for most of Europe there. Quite a warm June being predicted by the CFS V2. Precipitation does look unsettled, and of course that's because we've got this trough down to the southwest. We've got the blocking up here, the trough is down here, and despite the fairly warm air that's being drawn up from the southeast, this trough is providing the energy probably for thunder at times and maybe some heavy bouts of rain. So warm and wet really is the signal for June from CFS V2. Quite an unusual pattern. Beijing Climate Centre, 500 millibar heights for the month, looking like this. It's placing an area of above average heights generally over and a little bit to the east of the country, with the trough again in the Atlantic. Now this is similar to CFS V2, but slightly different in that there's more influence from the ridge with the jet stream doing something like that, and again you can see it over here. So we are placed on the warm side of a jet stream with this. You'd expect this to be warmer than average, but the ridge is a little bit more centred to the east of us, which holds off that trough in the Atlantic rather more. So you'll expect this again to be a warm month, but probably fairly dry as well. So this is better for dry conditions compared to the CFS V2. Let's have a look at the temperature anomaly. That's coming out generally warmer than average. Anomalies up to around 2 degrees above average. Probably can't make it out all that well, but it's going up to around 2 degrees above average there down across the south of the country. So that's going to be very warm in a summer month, of course. 2 degrees above average would be a very warm month. The precipitation anomaly, now this is better than CFS V2. It's coming out generally a little bit drier than average. And again, the reason is that the ridge is generally centred to the east of us. The trough is out to the west, so we are bringing up warm air from the south, but it's also drier with more of an influence from that ridge of high pressure to the east. Very complicated patterns for this month. The trend that emerges through both of these months is that we'd like to have a warmer than average month, and I think we're in agreement with that. When we did the summer forecast, the analogue sort of backed up the idea that June, out of all the months, out of all the 3 summer months, is likely to be the greatest anomaly above average, if you like, although July and August will still probably be warmer than June because it's a rapidly warming season. Compared to average, June is the one that's likely to come out warmer than average, and it's backed up by the models here. So I think we will go with that idea. Temperatures are going to be above average this June. Maybe significantly so. I wouldn't be surprised if we get an anomaly of around a degree, maybe 1.5 degrees or more above the 61 to 99 average. So we've got to have a really warm month, actually, I think, this June. In terms of precipitation, it's much harder to call. It very much depends how the trough and the ridge aligns. I wouldn't be overly alarmed about a very wet month, but I do think it'll be unsettled at times. So I'll go for precipitation, maybe around or even slightly above average, but I expect a lot of variation with that, and big thunderstorms in places producing a very wet month for some places, whereas other places just a few miles down the road may actually come away with a drier than average month. So I think it'll be quite a thundery month, and therefore the precipitation would tend to be very unevenly spread. But averaging it all out, probably not all that far from the average, maybe a little bit above. But I think it's really the temperatures that could be the story for this June, with maybe quite a significantly warmer than average month possible. We'll just have a quick sneak peek at July before I go, and this is what CFS V2 is doing for July with 700 millibar height anomalies. Generally above average height, close to us, but it's placing it or centering it generally out to the west, and that means the jet stream is going rather like that. So although we have got a ridge fairly close to us, because it's centered to the west, we are actually bringing the air around that ridge from a northwesterly direction, that sort of direction, and therefore it could be quite a coolish month, probably quite dry, but temperatures not particularly exciting, and maybe even bring some bands of rain down from the northwest at times. So we'll worry about July when we get to it. The summer forecast went with the idea that we're probably going to get a deterioration through the middle the latter part of the summer. Certainly in terms of where the CFS wants to place that ridge, it doesn't look as good as what it's doing for June. But we will wait and see on that one, of course. Finally, having a summary of the June forecast, gasweatherviz.com. We are going this month for a warmer than average month, maybe significantly so. And precipitation, very variable because it's likely to be quite a thundery month. So some places will tend to get a very wet month, other places probably coming away with quite a dry month when they miss all the storms. Averaging it all out, probably not that far from average, maybe a little bit above. We'll evaluate next month, as always. That's all for now. Later on, we'll be looking at the next week to 10 days, so come back for that. But that's all for now, and thanks for watching.